Hi, and welcome to the dinner agenda. This is Bo.
And this is CeeLo.
Hello, CeeLo. Happy Mother's Day.
Aw, thanks. It's Mother's Day today when we're recording, but Thursday,
It is.
when our episode releases, it won't be Mother's Day anymore.
That's right. It will not be Mother's Day anymore. That's true. What are you doing for Mother's Day?
Well,
Anything?
I was originally planning to be at basketball games, but sadly, we didn't quite make it through to the championship day. We're not playing for any medals. So all of a sudden I have a free day, which is kind of awesome.
Good.
And I walked the doggy this morning, and then I went to Circles and Squares Bakery.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, that place is awesome.
I just finished eating a Biscoff Cruffin, which is a cross between a croissant and a muffin, or a croissant.
A croissant?
And it is Biscoff, and it has like a little bit of whipped creamy stuff on it, and it's very delicious. Sugar be spiking. You know what I'm saying?
I do. But did you enjoy it?
It was so good.
It
was so
awesome.
good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrated my mom yesterday. We took her out for a really nice brunch.
Nice.
Yes, it was nice.
Where'd you go?
We went to Port Restaurant
nice.
in yeah. I do like that place. But the odd thing about this is after brunch, so we dropped my mom back at home, and Dave and I went to go run some errands, and one of the errands was looking for a new sofa, right? Because we got to get the new sofa for the new reno. Exactly. So we're driving around and we're doing our errands. We pop into a furniture store, and Dave looks at me and he's like, "Your face is really like red." And I'm like, "Yeah, I feel like my face feels like hot for sure, but like the rest of my body didn't feel hot."
Did you have bottomless mimosas at brunch?
No, I didn't have any alcohol to drink at all. And so we are walking around the store, and all of a sudden my head starts to really itch, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's driving me nuts." And I'm like, "Dave, my God, do I have lice or something? Like something's going on." Like so itchy. And then all the splotches started. I started breaking out in these massive hives all over my face, all over my body, really big red like bumps. And then my left eye started to swell. My bottom lip started to swell. Yeah. I was like, what the shit is going on? So we were like, okay, you know what? Abort mission. Think we got to go home and take some, antihistamine.
Yeah.
So as we're driving home, I'm sitting here trying to what the heck did I come in contact with? And we were like, was it something on the sofas we were sitting on? Or is it something that as my body started to digest the brunch, there was something
I was going to say, don't tell me you're all of a sudden allergic to hollandaise sauce, because that would be a travesty.
No, but we did have oysters. And some snow crab. And I don't know if maybe that was, I don't know. I have no idea, but it was the most bizarre thing. It was such a severe kind of reaction out of the blue. Yeah. Anyways, I came home, took some antihistamines, laid down. I had a pounding headache after, and I just, relaxed. But yeah, so that was my event yesterday.
But you still don't know what caused it.
No idea. I was actually wondering, because I am allergic to penicillin, and I don't know if maybe there was some bread pudding that we had, and I don't know if maybe, it was stale or something, and maybe some mold had started to grow. I don't know if there's a correlation between that and being allergic to penicillin or not. I have no idea. I don't know if it was something I consumed or something I touched. I really don't know.
Yeah. And you'll probably never know.
No.
I do remember my dad saying when we were little, there was a piece of bread with a little bit of mold on it. He'd be like, "Cut it off. It's all right for you. It's just penicillin." That's what he would say. Now I say the same thing to my kids.
Do you really? That's nice. I hope they're not allergic to penicillin.
That's down the line,
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
luckily, knock on wood, no allergies up in here, but yeah.
That's too funny. That's too funny.
Yeah.
So, okay, are you gonna be doing anything then for celebrating today now that you have the day off,
Well,
other than eating frickin' crumuffins or whatever the heck they're called that, by the way,
cruffin.
you did not deliver to my
It's a
house, and I am the
cruffin.
mother a cruffin. What did I call
Okay,
it?
next time I come visit you, I'll bring some.
Yes, please.
You said you called it a muffin, but it's a
Oh,
cruffin.
okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, cruffin. I think
Get
you're a
your
cruffin.
sweet pastry lingo straight, would you?
I'll try. I'll try.
Um,
Um,
so
what
for
are you doing?
Mother's Day, we kind of said on Friday we managed to get PWHL playoff tickets. What?
Yeah. Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah. And so we said
Good.
that was our Mother's Day, thinking that today we were going to be busy with basketball and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it was so much fun. We actually scored tickets earlier in the week on Wednesday. So we saw the
Mhm.
first Toronto game, and it
Mhm.
was awesome. It's such a fucking awesome vibe in there.
Really? Yeah.
It's just so celebratory and
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome, and it's like girl hockey. I don't know, it's just like checking all the boxes for me. It was so much fun.
Yeah. I
And
saw the post, that Mel made. You guys look so happy in that picture. It's an awesome it's a cute pic.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
So it was
Looks
fun.
like you
So
had
then
a
we
good
had
time.
tickets, we got tickets for the Friday night game, as
Mhm.
well, so it was a lot of fun, and so twice we went out this week without kids and did our own thing, like a date night, right?
Yeah.
And I can probably count on one hand the number of times that we've gone out, just the 2 of us. Okay, maybe 2 hands, right? Like, it's been a really
Yeah.
long time. I feel like
Yeah.
our kids were old enough to kinda stay home alone once COVID hit,
Mhm.
right? And then
But
with
then everything's
COVID,
closed.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything's closed, you can't go out, you can't do anything, and so it's almost like now you kind of forget that you don't have to be home to, make dinner and tuck people into bed and they're self-sufficient
Yeah.
now. So, yeah, that's my mission now, is to try and take advantage of the fact that they're self-sufficient. The
Older.
only thing
Yeah.
stopping us really now is their social and sport schedule, right? Because they need
Yeah.
rides everywhere and all
Yeah.
that jazz. But yeah, I had so
Yeah.
much fun with wifey. It was just such a good
Good.
vibe, so fun. Toronto's up in the series 2-zip. It's so good. Yeah, you know me.
No, it sounds great. It sounds good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
It's helping me recover from the Leafs losing.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny thing is, weren't we out for dinner that night and you guys
Yes.
were leaving to go home to
Yes.
watch the game? And Dave was like, they're going to lose. And Mel gave him the biggest stink eye. Like she was ready to like just, jump over the table and strangle him. And then when he found out that they lost, he wanted to send her a message.
He
And I
should
said,
have.
nope, don't.
She's
Leave
usually
the
she's
beach, I'll tell you.
usually on the side of, "Yeah, it's not happening," and I'm like, "Nope, gotta
Yeah.
stay positive, gotta think
Yeah.
positive, put the positive vibes out there," and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
yeah, so whatever.
That's too funny. Okay, so I have a trivia thing here. It was sent to us by Christina. You know how we're both weirdos and into that whole animal ASMR thing
Oh,
where
yeah.
we love listening to them chew. So she sent me a really cute video of a beaver eating cabbage. And it says studies show that watching a beaver eat cabbage lowers stress by 17%.
Oh my god, really?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe
So we must keep watching.
yeah, we might well, but maybe that's why we are watching. Maybe our brains know it helps us reduce
Maybe.
stress, and that's why we're so addicted. Because
Maybe.
my addiction has gone beyond animals chewing, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, what has it, cuz mine has morphed as well. So tell me what's going on with you.
Okay, so I do find myself, and I almost get mad at myself, but the
Mm.
unpackaging and restocking of things,
Okay, no, that's not mine.
where
What?
people like unpackage a bunch of pantry items or laundry items, and then they're clicking their nails on fucking everything, and then they get their laundry room or pantry all kind of sorted with like everything easy access, all restocked into containers that are, look beautiful, easy to use. It's awesome. I'm going to get a
See,
video and
though,
I'm going to send it to you.
yeah, I need to see what you're watching. I need to understand whether or not you're
Crazy.
nuts
Yeah.
or if this is something that I can, share with you. I don't know. I mean, the clicking of the nails, I think, would drive me crazy. I don't think I want to listen to people. Don't do it.
I'm
I
not.
can see you reaching out to do something.
What? No, I wouldn't.
She's like, no, I
This is
wouldn't.
what they do. They'll like put a box or something in front, and then they'll do on it, and then they'll take the tape off, and then they'll touch the thing, and then I know
I
you're
think
laughing at me. It's fine. You
yeah,
know
we
what?
need
I
an intervention.
follow #organized on Instagram
Oh my fuck.
because I like being organized and I like having things organized and
Okay, so I know
makes
the
me
number
happy.
to your family doctor. I'm going to talk to her about checking you for OCD, and there we go.
Yeah, I'm sure
Okay,
there's a little of that in there too.
probably. I think we all have a little bit of that for sure.
Mhm.
There's this, so watching the animals eat. Yep. Now I'm starting to watch people cook things.
Oh,
Yeah, this one woman, I don't know why, but I've started to get really into watching her Instagram videos. Her handle is Ballerina Farm. And I think she was a former Mrs. America in like 2023. And I think she was an actual ballerina dancer. She's like this beautiful woman. But here's the bizarre thing. So she lives on a farm with her husband and like 5 million kids,
yeah.
right? So she's like, first of all, she's really beautiful. She's really slim. She has 5 million children. They live on a farm, and it looks like they live in a very old fashioned way, meaning that like they have an old
Oh.
oven. They get milk from the cows. They make their own butter. They get things from the chick, like eggs from the chicken, and they use those. They grow their own vegetables, and she hand makes everything. So if she's having if she's going to be making sandwiches for lunch, she fucking bakes bread first and then makes the sandwich. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
don't do that?
no, CeeLo, I do not. I don't. There's a grocery store up the street, and that is how I make my bread. But no, but like watching her exhausts the shit out of me and she's got this like little new infant that's like strapped to her the front side, right? As she's like using the mixer, baking bread, kneading bread, doing whatever. And the kids, you can hear the kids in the background. And I'm just thinking, how the hell does someone have the time to do all of this? I literally would need a nap every 2 hours just to recover. It just looks so busy, but I'm fascinated by watching her. You're going to have to check this out. See what I'm talking about.
I feel like I heard, remember a while back we were talking about our favorite podcasts that we listened to, and one of the ones
Yeah.
that I listened to is called I've Had It.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking, each episode that they do is what they fucking had it with. And so,
Okay.
what have you fucking had it with this week? And one of them
Right.
was like, you know what I fucking had it with? I fucking had it with trad wives. And I'm like, what the fuck is even a trad wife?
Yeah.
And
What
it's
is
like
it?
a traditional wife, those that bake the
Oh.
bread before
Oh.
they make the Sammies for the kids' lunches. I'm just saying.
You know what? I'm going to agree with her. I've had it with that too. However, I can't stop watching somebody who does do it.
Really?
Oh, this woman. But mind you, I'm wondering if it's a combination because of the fact that to me it's so foreign. Just like saying they're baking bread or kneading dough and shit. So maybe I'm just fascinated from that perspective. But it's also like the fact that she's like getting all this fresh milk in, and she's making her own butter, and she's making her own cheese, and like that kind of stuff. I maybe I find that fascinating. I don't know. But something to think about for sure.
And you had the gall to make fun of me and my
Yes,
unpackaging videos when you're watching
yes,
trad wives make bread with baby strapped to them.
yes, absolutely.
That doesn't seem fair to me.
Listen, CeeLo, someone has to make fun of you, and I've nominated myself for that job.
Wow. Okay. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Great. So what's on the agenda today?
Well, before we get to the agenda, I was doing a bit of research on podcasts. I get emails on podcasts now that we're famous podcasters.
Yes.
And it says, you really need to connect with your listeners.
Okay.
Right? So that they feel part of the show.
So should we send like naked videos and stuff out
not at all.
Okay.
They need to feel like they're our besties, and we just keep calling them the listeners, and it's so random. And so I'm thinking we need to give them a name.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm thinking our dinner guests or the dinner
Yeah.
guests. What do you think of
Yeah.
that? Yeah?
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
Okay, y'all.
Yeah,
All
let's do
y'all
it.
who are listening right now, you're officially our dinner guests. Thank you.
Yay. No, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That reminds me of, I don't know why, but Lydia Bastianich,
Yes.
yeah, okay, so I love her. I love her. I love watching her shows. And I love how she ends each meal where she invites everybody to sit at the table and eat. Where she says "Tutte a tavola a mangiare," and it's like everybody come to the table and
Oh,
eat.
you're
I
speaking
know,
Italian. I like
I
it.
know. That's probably the only phrase in Italian that I know other than swear words. But you just saying our dinner guests, that's what that reminds me
Yeah.
of.
So there are
But
dinner
that's great.
guests. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So what is on the
Awesome.
agenda for our dinner guests today,
So
CeeLo?
what is on the agenda is I wanted to talk about retirement
Ugh, why? Ugh.
because I find it kind of fascinating that when you're younger, you think about your retirement like these are going to be the glory days, right? I don't have to work anymore. I've got everything, I've got the money to be able to go and do what I want. I've
Mhm,
got this freedom. And then I've found that as I've approached retirement, like gotten
mhm,
older, it's still a number of years away, but at the same time, I find myself getting stressed about it. And it's not just the financial, right? Cuz you that's the part you can figure out really and plan for, right? You've got
mhm,
you need to have so much money set aside, whatever that looks like. You meet with a financial planner, you need to put this much away, and you kind of button that up, and that's on
mhm,
its way. But then I'm like, if I'm not going to work every day
mhm.
or driving my kids to sports, what the fuck am I going to do?
Bake bread. No,
Restock my pantry.
restock your pantry. Come over and restock
But I
my
mean,
freaking
like,
pantry.
okay, so
Yeah.
some of those things that you never have time for, like I always said, oh, when I
Mhm.
was on maternity leave, I'm like, oh, I get all my old photos organized and shit. Like that did not happen. No, man, it's too
No,
busy.
no.
And so
Mhm,
you're like, okay, so once I retire, that there's a list of stuff like that that will bring me joy to do.
mhm.
But I figured that's like a week's worth of stuff, and then what the fuck? And
Yeah,
I find it's kind of stressing me out to think about it.
yeah. You know what? Retirement stresses me out too, and it stresses me out because we're now in that phase where we are starting to really think about the fact that we're going to be stopping work at some point, right? And I like we still have some time to go, but it's on the horizon at this point. So I'm thinking about it a lot more, and the concern that I have is like having enough money. So, like just I know that there's this huge boycott right now for Loblaws in
Oh
Canada,
my
like
god,
or
yeah.
people are, yeah, because the cost of groceries are, like just insanely high. And I get it. Like, I really I'm angry about that too, because for me it seems like when COVID hit, there was, costs started to increase because we weren't able to get things imported quickly enough,
Mhm.
and there were shortages everywhere because people were kind of stuck at home and workers couldn't come out, etc. So I get the price raises at that point in time, but COVID's over with now, and those prices have not come down, and the cost of living has shot up so high with just groceries and bills and gas and everything that now I sit there and I say, I don't like, I really don't know when I'm actually going to be able to retire comfortably. Right. Like it's a concern because, even just yesterday, we went to the grocery store, freaking butter, a pound of butter. It's like
I
$9.
know. Go to
Nine
Costco, it's cheaper at
fucking
Costco.
dollars. Yeah, we've made the decision that we're going to start trying to do some cheaper
Yeah.
shopping. But
Oh,
I
and
mean,
Mel's been
and I
really good
can.
when we're on point. Mel does all of the food planning and cooking, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And when we're on point and planning, I do, she'll be like, "Oh my gosh, we need to hit up Farm Boy this week or No Frills that week,"
Yeah,
or to get
yeah.
whatever, and stock up on things that are on sale. But our grocery bill is fucking
Mhm.
ridiculous.
So I've just discovered your retirement plan. Your retirement plan is to clip coupons and spend the entire day traveling to multiple different grocery stores to find the cheapest motherfucking
And
butter. Like,
spending
that's going to take up your entire day. There's your
spending all my
retirement
money on
plan.
gas to drive around to
Yep.
different grocery stores.
Podcast over. Thanks.
It's kind
Bye.
of funny because it's like right now, Costco makes a lot of sense for us just to be able to
Yeah.
not like, I don't even know if the price difference makes the most sense, but just to buy items in bulk because we go through some stuff so fast, right?
Yeah.
But
But that's because you're a family of 4 with
yeah,
a son that is giantly tall and
yes,
can eat anything and everything.
yes,
So yeah, if for just Dave and I, Costco is only good for like the stock up items,
yeah,
like toilet paper, laundry detergent, that kind of stuff.
yeah, householdy stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, he has a hollow leg and he eats a lot. They do have like late night dinners now. So they'll eat dinner and then they'll
Hmm.
come downstairs around 10 o'clock and want more food. So it's
Hmm.
almost like you have to make them a plate of dinner, but then also have the second dinner plate. Or else he'll pull out. The other night he came down and he toasted 3 bagels with peanut butter at
Oh my
10 o'clock
God.
and ate them. And then, of course, he said, I feel like 2 was probably enough. I didn't really need 3. I'm like, you think? You already had fucking dinner a few hours ago. Anyways, he has a hollow leg. But
He
um,
does. He does.
my
Yeah.
stepdad, okay, on his
Hmm.
own, single
Hmm.
guy,
Yeah.
goes to Costco like fucking weekly. I don't know what
For
he's
what?
buying there. I don't know. I have no idea. I think it's just something to do. So maybe that's
Oh,
also a thing I could add to my retirement plan list is just visit Costco.
you know what? Costco has great lunches, right? Like the hot dogs
Oh yeah.
and their ice cream. It's like for like $3, you
Maybe
get
he's
like a hot dog and pop, right?
maybe
What?
he's just going to get the snacks at the end of the
Maybe,
aisle.
maybe because he is retired,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's
Totally.
funny just talking about it though. Like I do definitely get concerned. A question for you,
Yeah.
because both you and I are married to people who are younger than us,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's by the same age difference, right? Like Dave's
Yeah.
5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
What, Mel
5.
too?
Yeah,
It's
5 years.
yeah. So have you guys talked about how that looks with retirement? Are you guys thinking or planning to retire at the same time? Or would you retire first? Like, what do you think?
I think I should be allowed to retire first, you know?
I do.
I mean, ideally at the same time or close to the same time would be like
Mhm.
if financially we could do that, that would be great. But I'm
Yeah.
not too we hadn't really talked about that. How about you guys?
We have actually. We have talked about it because we have a financial advisor that we deal with, and when we were talking about retirement with him, he had basically said, "Okay, so Bo, you retire first, and then Dave works for another 5 years, and then he retires." And I looked over at Dave and I saw the look on his
He's
face.
like, fuck that.
Yeah, he had the biggest "fuck, I don't think so" look on his face. So after that
You and I
session.
can retire together and we
Yes.
can go do old lady things and then Mel and Dave can retire 5 years after.
That would be ideal. Like, you and I can go play bingo. They can go,
Yes.
I don't know, shop for food and cook for
We'll
us
go,
because they both
yeah.
like cooking.
We'll go to
Yeah.
Costco and go play bingo. It'll
Yeah.
be fun.
I'm down with that.
Get a hot
But I think I'm gonna have an issue if I retire first. I think Dave's gonna feel pretty crappy. Um, even though
feel
I've
crappy
put
like
in.
he's gonna feel jelly.
Yeah, I think so. And I get it though. I think I'd feel the same way. Like if he was retiring and I had to keep working, I think I'd be like, listen,
Yeah, totally.
fuck off. Yeah. But I don't know. It's going to depend on where we are financially, to see whether or
To
not
pull it off.
he can retire. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because I was reading this thing online that said something like a general rule of thumb is 4%. So you would take
4% what?
4% out of your savings every year for retirement. So
Really?
$40,000 a year, you need $1 million. How the
Okay.
fuck am I going to live on $40,000 per year? I don't think I can do that. And that would only
I
last
don't think
you
anybody can.
25 years.
So I'm wondering if
I have to be dead
was
by 90.
okay, can we make a pact that if our money runs out, we Thelma and Louise
Oh,
it?
totally.
We
Mel and
just
I already said that. We're going to Thelma and Louise it.
we're gonna have to. I I don't think you can live on 40,000 either a year. But do you think that maybe they're saying 40,000 of your savings supplemented by um like a pension or something,
Yeah, well, that would be
or like,
your 40,000 total. So whatever you've got saved up, wherever you've got it saved up, or whatever pension, CPP, like all that together,
uh-huh.
40,000 bucks a year. I just
No.
don't know how
That
I could pull that off.
it's impossible. It's impossible. You
That's why
spend that on groceries, never mind, like just living.
that's
No.
my wine budget.
That's
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need a little bit more than that, especially I think
yeah.
early on, right? Because both Mel and I were talking, and we would love to be able to travel and do some fun trips and that kind of thing. And so that's gonna be a few bucks there. But
Mhm.
probably it's like the first 10 years after you retire that you're gonna be doing the more pricey things. And then, after that, maybe you're not traveling quite as much, but
Yeah.
both of
Yeah.
my
And I think,
parents had places south, when they
oh,
retired,
right.
right? Down in
That's
Flaw,
right.
and, my dad and his wife, used to go down to Texas,
Yeah.
and as much as the idea of not being here for winter, it appeals to me, I don't know if
Mhm.
I would well, 1, go to the US because it's the US. I don't know if I
See,
would
I love the US. I love Arizona specifically. I like that climate, but you don't
well, the
you're
climate-wise, sure, and I'm sure there's awesome, lovely people down there, but the whole Trump thing, I'm like,
oh, I see. I see.
right? They don't like the
That's not
gays.
gonna stop me. I don't give a shit.
They don't like the
That's not
gays
gonna stop
down
me.
there. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Well, stay
saying?
away from Florida. Aren't they, like, really big in Florida?
The gays?
No, the
Oh.
Trump supporters. The gays are really big in Miami,
Ooh, maybe I'll go
absolutely.
to Miami then. Yeah. No, I just I
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanna be in if I'm gonna go or even invest and spend my money somewhere, I want it I don't know. So, anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
Costa Rica,
Ooh.
right? It's
Oh,
not too bad
that
of a
sounds nice.
flight. Price
Yeah.
is right. It's a beautiful country.
They have sloths.
They have sloths. They have lots of the little monkeys. It was
Yes,
lovely.
I
We
could
went
do
for
that.
the first time March break, oh my god, a year 2 years ago or a year ago? I don't remember.
Mhm, mhm.
And, it was lovely. I was, like, looking at real estate while we were there.
Really?
Yeah, that's how nice it was. I've never done anything like that. I would never ever spend and I'm not saying I would, I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, and what was it like? Was it super
No,
expensive? Affordable?
totally
Like,
affordable,
give me an
and
example.
I don't you can't pull that shit on me and make me remember specifics. It was reasonable. That's all I can
Reasonable.
remember
Okay,
thinking
I
it was
just don't know what reasonable to you is
well, like,
versus reasonable to
doable. If
me.
you were gonna buy something,
Mhm.
like, you could spend 300 grand on something.
Okay.
Beautiful, right?
Wow, yeah.
And it's not a Florida trailer park,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
It's
Yeah, got
beautiful.
it,
It's beautiful
got it.
space. And, yeah, and then I started seeing on TikTok this lady, Sue, in Costa Rica. She
Mhm.
she kinda cracks me up because she's this, like, senior lady, and she's down there. There's a whole bunch of expats, a whole bunch of Canadians down there that spend their winters down there, and I'm like, "I could totally get down with that."
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think I could do Costa Rica. I'd have to go visit it first. I've never been.
But would you
Um,
buy something somewhere, or would you just, like, say, "Hey, February, I'm cutting out," and do, like, an Airbnb or rental or something?
I don't think so Dave and I have talked about that. I don't know if I actually want to buy something somewhere because then I'm feeling stuck like I've got to stay there only. I think what I'd rather do is like if I was retired, I think I'd rather just, go somewhere and spend a couple of months,
Yeah.
or 2, 3 months or whatever, renting somewhere. And then, if I really fall in love with it for some reason, sure, maybe. But I think, you know, what I kind of look at is the retirement. You had made a comment earlier about, the first 10 years of when you retire is typically when you do your traveling. And that's logical because as our bodies break down as we get older,
Yeah.
walking becomes more difficult, coverage for health insurance becomes more
Yeah,
expensive as
totally.
we get older. You have more ailments, that kind of stuff. So it's not as economical or wise to travel as you are heading into your, late, like, mid 70s, whatever, right? Who knows? I mean, some people are going to be still quite active, and that's great, but there's a chance that a lot of us won't be, right? So I just don't know if investing in the actual purchase of a place is something that I want to do.
Yeah.
But then it is definitely more expensive, right? To just go and rent. So I don't know.
Or
I
do
don't know.
like my dad and his wife had a timeshare in Cayman Islands.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's a possibility to do some kind of timeshare. But then you're kind of, well, I guess once you're retired, it doesn't matter, you know,
But I
like
hear so
timing
many bad
wise.
things about timeshares. Aren't they like schemes or something?
Scams.
Scams?
I I don't know. I'm sure some of them are. I think you'd have to do a
Yeah.
bit of research on it, but I agree with you. I mean, I love the idea of having something that I
Yeah.
would always go
Yeah.
to, but
Yeah.
I also like the idea of trying somewhere new. So maybe Arizona one February, maybe Costa Rica the next February. I don't know, something like
Yeah.
that where I was getting around and doing stuff. But I think the appealing part of having the same place to go to is you then have that little community of friends that you create every time you
Yes.
right? And so my both
Yes.
of my parents had really enjoyed that part of it. They had
Yeah.
someone to golf with, someone to ride their bike to the beach with,
Yeah.
the mahjong, the book club, all
Yeah.
the different things to do. There was people to do that stuff with, right?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, my aunt, she did not. So when she retired, she did not buy a place in Mexico, but she did rent an apartment in Mexico each winter.
Yeah.
And I guess this particular place or location within Mexico, I guess, was used to having these expats come, for their
Yeah.
retirement during the winter months, specifically Canada and the US. And so they did rent, apartment units. And she had a really nice apartment unit and she would go and she met a lot of people talking about the community culture that you were just mentioning.
Yeah.
When you retire, she had the same thing there too. So she got to know everybody. They were all coming in at around the same time. And now she doesn't go down as often anymore, but she still stays in touch with these folks
Yeah.
and they still meet up every once in a while. I think the issue really becomes, are you going to have the money to actually do this? I mean, you just mentioned about the 4%, 40,000. I mean, I don't think that's going to be enough at all. Talking to somebody else, they were mentioning that when they had done the calculations, they were looking at, you need like to be able to comfortably retire like 2.7 million. And I'm like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, right?
I can't see that happening. But that I get concerned about that. So I really don't know. I don't know, but I don't think we're the only ones that are kind of questioning this, right? I
Yeah.
think we have to look at, like, to do this really logically. I think we really need to understand what it is that we want to do out
Yeah,
of
almost
retirement
create a budget for it, right? That
and
you're
a
like,
plan
each year I
and a
need
plan.
$10,000 for travel. Each year I need this much
Yeah.
for, you know.
And do you want to travel? Some people don't. Some people don't have that travel bug, right? Some people want to spend their entire retirement traveling. Others might just want to go away once a year or once every couple of years,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's critical to understand what you kind of want to do.
Yeah.
That's going to tell you how much money you're going to need for sure. And so, have you had those conversations with Mel? What kind of, like, I know you do like to travel, but is that something you want to do consistently every year
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
or
Totally. I mean, I would do it
Okay.
if I had unlimited funds. We would both go everywhere all
Hmm.
the time. Like, we would just go. I would love to do
Hmm.
that. But then the other thing too is like, where are the kids at? And
Hmm.
what are they up to? And that kind of thing, right? Because I don't want to be, I'm not going to leave, November 1st and come back in April. That's
Hmm.
not for me. I want to be here at Christmas time. I want to be here for birthdays and all that stuff. So I mean, that's how
Yeah.
I feel now, at least. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
they're just coming into their teenage years. Maybe they're really going to piss me off, and then I'll be like, sorry, you're on your own. I doubt that, but you never know.
That
But yeah,
that's
we
never
would
gonna
love to be
happen.
able to travel. So I
Yeah.
think you're right. Like, you really got to come up
Yeah.
with what that plan is of the stuff you want to do, and then almost put a budget aside for it so that you,
Yeah.
because it's not so much, it's the year to year, but then it's the fact that it's like you have this big chunk of money when you retire,
Yeah.
and it's slowly dwindling, and there's
Yeah.
nothing to replace it.
So let me ask you a question. There has been articles that I have read where some financial advisors recommend spending the money now while you're still kind of working. There's this one person that I know who, his philosophy is, look at, I'm just going to keep on working. I want to enjoy my life right now and I'm going to spend my money now. And that's what he does. you know, Other people are like, nope, I'm not gonna, spend it now. I'm gonna save, and I'm just going to, enjoy my retirement. But we don't know what happens in our future, right?
Yeah,
We don't
that's true.
know if we're going to get ill or, have knee issues or hip issues or, walking, like who knows? Have you thought about, like, do you think about having a bit of a balance
Yeah,
now
I mean,
or
I think there has to be, it's not like what would, when somebody buys a house and then they're house poor because everything they've got is going to their mortgage. We're certainly not doing the everything we've got is going into the RSP and savings for retirement. We do spend quite a bit because,
yeah.
hockey
Yeah.
fees.
Yeah.
And so, not necessarily on us or on travel, but we have our things that we do allocate money to, and we do spend, and we
Hmm.
do a lot of fun things. So I
Hmm.
feel like it is pretty balanced, but I feel like the balance is swinging a little bit now to the retirement side, right? That
Yeah.
now that it's,
Yeah.
um, 10 plus a little bit, 10 or
Yeah.
so years away, I guess, right? So you start to think
Yeah.
about it a little bit more. I'm curious for our
Hmm.
dinner guests, now that we have a name
Hmm.
for them, like, what are your retirement plans? What do you want to do? Are you a travel bug? Are you a stay at home and organize the pantry kind of person? Like, I would love to hear from people on what their retirement
Mm,
ideas are, and they can
me too.
post it in the comments. Go to the Instagram and post it. I'm kind of curious to see whatever I need some ideas. Maybe that's what I'm getting at. And they can give me some
I
ideas.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think the more people who kind of, provide their ideas and their thoughts as well, it'll be a bit of a
Yeah,
learning exercise for us also.
yeah,
I often think about volunteering sometimes, that donkey sanctuary that I love going to,
yes,
Primrose. So it's the Primrose Donkey Sanctuary in and around, I think, the Coburg area in Ontario, and they rescue donkeys and they do such a fantastic job with these animals, and I just love visiting them, and I love contributing financially when I can to them because they are, a nonprofit sanctuary, and you can take tours there, and I think it's that would be something that I would love to do when I retire, is volunteer there and help take care of the animals. It's those kinds of things that I think about, but I don't know. I think I'd also like to travel. I'd also, like, there's just so many things I'd like to do. I just don't know if I'm going to have the financial means to do all of that. But one thing that I remember reading was that planning for retirement can actually be considered a stressful life event, and it's actually a lot of the times ranked more stressful than divorce. So
wow,
yeah,
really?
because I think, you know what, honestly, CeeLo, it's like a lot of us don't know. It's so unknown. We don't know where the world is headed right now. We don't know
Yeah.
what the economy is going to be. There was I remember, so okay, so I'm just going to get some old stats here that I remember looking up back when I was
Sure, take a minute. I'll let you finish your Google.
there. Okay, so all right, 58% attribute their anxiety to not having saved enough money, right, throughout their
Yep.
lifetime, and their concerns about, like, their stress about retirement. 57% blame the cost of living crisis for their anxiety about retirement. 45% cite worries about the current economy. I'm in that group too. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen because there's impacts on our investments, impacts on our pensions, impacts on everything, right?
Mhm.
20% are worried about being pigeonholed as old. I don't fall into that. I'm okay to embrace my age. 17% are concerned about losing their identity when they stop working. And you kind of mentioned a little bit of that
That's
too,
me. That's
right?
totally me. That is
Yeah.
totally me. I feel like so much of my life revolves around work and
Yeah.
revolves around doing things for my family.
Yeah.
And so slowly my kids aren't going to need me to do stuff for them as much anymore, and I feel
Yeah.
that now already, right? Which
Yeah.
is kind of good. I'm embracing their independence, and I love that part of it. But then once work is not there anymore, like these are the only two things like I get up in the morning for, right?
Yeah.
And so what does that look like? A really, really good friend of mine was considering moving,
Mhm.
because they had found, her and her husband had found this really great spot to move to, but that
Mhm.
meant that retirement might come a little bit earlier. And so
Oh,
she was feeling, anxious about that, and didn't understand. And I'm like, but you love that spot, you love that house, and then she was like, no, but it means I'll probably retire earlier. And I'm like, so I feel like the anxieties around now what, right? Because our worlds revolve around our work and our career, and it's
yeah.
not just the job, but the people that you work with become like a little second family, and
Yeah.
so then not
Yeah.
having that, I feel like that does bring on a bit of anxiety for people. The other thing, when you said it was more stressful than divorce, I feel
Yeah.
like if you're not talking and you're not on the same page, like let's say you haven't talked about it and all of a sudden, 65 rolls around and you're retired, and one is like, cool, I'm going to stay home and organize the pantry. And the other one's like, no, man, I'm going on a year-long cruise.
Mhm.
Right. And you're all of a
Mhm.
sudden your whole like worlds are headed in different direction. I can understand that, but
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that part as much. Wifey and I have talked about it a little bit here and there, and I think we're on the same page with the stuff. I'm more of a get up and go person, like, always looking for something to do, always puttering around, and she's less like that. So I think there was a little bit
Mhm.
of that anxiety on me, that
Mhm.
what are we going to do? And she's like, what are you talking about? We'll have time to do everything we love. We can go golf, and we can go for a walk down the beach. We can go do this and go do that. I'm like, okay, cool. Because I knew the
Yeah.
big stuff. We were on the same page with the big stuff, but it's more just the day to day. It wasn't the big stuff stressing me out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's funny. I think we have these big fantasies in our heads, and I don't think it's always going to turn out the way that we think it's going to.
yeah.
I actually had a friend who retired in her 40s because mid 40s, they had had enough, financial means to do so. Her husband was still working, and
Wow.
her kids were really young. So she thought, you know what, I'm going to retire. I'm going to raise my kids, and I'm going to focus on doing that.
Yeah.
And in her mind, she had all of these wonderful things that she wanted to achieve while she was not working. And she achieved some of them. But, talking to her lately, she's like, you know what, you don't do all the things that you think you're gonna, you
Yeah.
just don't.
Yeah.
And it's not, and she ended up going back to work because she just needed a bit more once, especially once her kids got older. So
Yeah.
similar to what you're saying,
Yeah.
it's your identity does get wrapped up in certain things within your life. And when those certain things are no longer, you do miss a part of your identity, and you've got to create a new identity for yourself in a sense.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you have a financial advisor?
Yeah. He,
That did not sound very convincing. What was it?
We had
Yeah.
a really great one that we were working with, and then like she moved branches or something, and so then she passed us on to this new guy, and he's emailed
Uh-huh.
us a couple of times, but we haven't sat down with him. We need to go and make the
Yes.
time to do it for sure. But
Yeah, you should. You should.
yeah.
You should.
I didn't.
We have a financial advisor, and we've gone through the whole process with him to talk about where we are. One of the things you had mentioned about your friend who had moved
Mhm.
further away. So that is part of the reason why Dave and I are doing the renovations right now. We wanted desperately to have a bit of a change, uh, and so we were looking at moving, and when we began the process of looking at other homes and deciding whether or not we wanted to live further out from the city because we'd end up wanting to retire in this location, that kind of stuff. So we were looking at that, but we struggled with the home prices are so expensive right now,
Oh god, yeah.
and you go into a place and you're like, oh, this is really great, but there's always something that you feel like you need to renovate to your liking. And so we sat down and we made the decision, like we tried to make the decision, do we want to is it worth it to spend this kind of money and time, you know, moving and then renovating, or do we want to just stay where we are and renovate where we are? So that was the decision that we made, and we did take out some of our savings to do that.
Yeah.
And we thought to ourselves, you know what, while we still have a good, 10-15 years of working still, let's do it now so we can recoup those
Yeah.
costs, right? And so that's why we're renovating, and we'll enjoy it now. But working with our financial advisor, I think, is important because, he's able to kind of tell us, okay, so here are your options, right? If you want to retire at 55 or 60 or 65, here's what everything looks like to you. One of the things that he had mentioned was, you had said the 4%, you have
Yeah.
to die by the time you're, what was it, 80 or 90?
90.
90. Yeah, yeah. If you can live on the 40,000, which means probably not
I
likely,
think I got to
which
die
means
by the time I'm 80.
that's what I was going to
Nova.
say. So you kind of have to understand how long your money is going to last you.
Yeah.
And then there's also the, do you own a home now? Do you sell that and move into a condo? Do
Yeah.
you keep it for the investment of it? Because more than likely by the time, I mean, this happened to my mom, by the time she was in her early 80s and my dad had passed, they had gone through a good chunk of their savings at that point.
Yeah.
And for her to continue on, she really did need to sell the house. And so that's what she's done.
Yeah.
And she's moved into a condo. And I mean, it's great because she couldn't really handle the house anyways anymore, right? At
No,
that age.
and the idea
Yeah.
of taking care of the house at some point, I mean, I for
Yeah.
sure would want to do condo or bungalow. My parents downsized, oh gosh, I don't remember now, 7 years ago, I guess. No.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe 6 or 7. I guess they sold their house and did the condo, and it was really good for them because it became a lot less maintenance for them to do, obviously,
Hmm.
on the house, but the
Hmm.
condo gave them a bit of a community, right, at home,
Yeah.
and so not too long after they moved, my mom passed away, and so my stepdad is there in the condo, and he's got Aquafit on Mondays, he has his bridge group on Tuesdays, and,
That's good.
there's people out there sitting on the patio having a glass of wine in the evenings kind of thing. So there's people to talk to, there's stuff to do, and that has been really, really good for him, and I like the
Yeah.
idea of having that as an option, right?
Yeah.
Instead of
Agreed.
feeling,
Yeah.
isolated about it.
Agreed.
But
Well, okay. So I think, first thing to do is get a financial advisor
yeah.
to understand
Oh,
where
yeah.
you are, what you have to do to get where you want to be. It's, for me, it was very surprising on some of the little ins and outs that I wasn't aware of. Things like the, government pensions and stuff that come as well, and how you can best utilize those. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that would probably add to, I mean, I don't, that 40,000 that you were talking about, there has to be some kind of supplementation for that,
Yeah.
because that just wouldn't sustain you now. But do you also think about, because this is also an option, and I think people assume that when you retire, that means that you cannot work anymore or that you should not be working anymore. But, you might end up getting a bit bored as well,
Yeah.
depending on how old you are. There is the option of continuing work in some capacity, whether
It's
it be just a part-time job
Yeah, it's
or yeah,
hilarious that you said that because when
yeah.
I Googled, "What things should I do when I retire?" Okay,
And said work.
and the first thing on the list was start a small business. I'm like, "What the fuck? Who put
Yeah.
this list
Yeah.
together?" And the second
Yeah.
thing was work part-time, and I'm like, "That's kind of both of those defeat the purpose of retiring."
But does it though? Because, if you think about it, when you go to get a part-time job in your retirement, you're probably going to choose something not for the amount of money that it makes you,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
because of
Something.
it being, yeah,
Yeah,
like something that fascinates
yeah.
you. Like, I don't know, my cousin's really into antiquing, and I keep saying, when you retire, you need to work at an antique store,
Yeah, yeah,
because she'd love it. She'd get such a kick out of it.
yeah,
It wouldn't feel like such a like a job, right?
yeah.
So it's that kind of stuff. It's doing that enjoyment thing for some pocket money, that could potentially help.
Yeah,
You know,
that'd be my
I'm
beer money, I
thinking
like that idea.
for money,
So,
exactly.
the first 2 things, start a small business, work part-time. The
Hmm.
other things that came up on the list, because I thought it was kind of a funny list, and I think this shall give our dinner guests some prompts for when they
Okay.
send us a comment on what they're gonna do when they retire. So here's the other stuff
Okay.
on the list. travel, which we've talked a little bit about.
Yes. Yes.
Animal shelters. So I think that's along the
Yeah.
volunteering, which we also talked
Yep.
about.
Yep.
Learn a new language, learn
Oh
an
gosh.
instrument, play a
Oh.
sport. Also, thinking pickleball. What do you think? Would you play pickleball with me?
Ooh, you know what? I would give it a shot. I'm just a bit nervous since I ruptured my Achilles tendon a couple of years ago.
Yes.
I am so cautious about what I do, and pickleball tends to be one of those ones that tends to rupture a lot of Achilles, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I mean, you know what? I would give it a shot. I would, because I think I'd
We'll
probably
start
like it.
slow. We'll start slow. We'll,
Yeah.
we'll do
Yeah,
ping
yeah.
pong.
Badminton, I like badminton.
Badminton
Do you like badminton?
is going to be the same Achilles situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Starting
What
small
is
is
the
ping pong,
ping
and
pong?
we'll move
Who
up.
has the oh, wait, wait, wait. I was gonna say, who has the ping pong table?
My
No one that
condo's going to have a ping pong table room, girl.
oh. But listen, you wanna know something, CeeLo? I'm sure that if we said to Mel, "Hey, can you go on an online auction and find a ping pong table?"
Shut
She'd find
the
one.
fuck up. Do not even.
I'm gonna message her right now.
Do not even. We opened our trailer on Friday, and I just
Mhm.
carted up that fucking poker table from sitting in the kitchen for months. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm going on with the list.
Go on.
The next thing was be social.
Mm,
Yeah, tough one, right?
sure. Well, everybody has to be retired along with you in order for you to be social,
Yeah,
unless they're saying, "Go out and meet people."
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't know. Do I
I
wanna
think
meet
it's
new
saying like
people? I don't know.
be social in that like don't just, sit inside your own
Sit at
house
home.
and
Got it.
yeah. Create a
Okay.
bucket list. So I'm like, "Oh, bucket list. That would be fun." And then I thought, "Oh, well, that's kind of depressing now that you're retired. You're just basically creating things to do before I die." Um, Dance, which I thought was fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Dance.
Yeah.
You have to check out
Oh my god, let's take ballroom dancing together. Just
oh
you and
my
me,
god,
though.
that would be funny. We could totally do that.
I think that would be hysterical.
I do love
Okay.
dancing around the house. I love
Okay.
music. It
Alright.
does put me in a good mood. But there's
Okay.
this Instagram account, and this guy is called Big Kid Rick. And he
Uh-huh.
does like fun dance routines that are like a workout. And I
Oh,
watch them and I think
really?
I could do that workout. That would be fun. Anyway,
Yeah.
declutter your home.
Oh god. I need to do that, but I mean, that doesn't sound like fun to me.
Well, you need to declutter before you get your renos going, girl.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we've started that, but I'm just saying the thought of actually focusing on decluttering your home, that's a
Gardening.
lot of work.
Okay, next one.
Yeah.
Gardening. I like
Yep.
doing that. Become a tour guide.
Oh, stop it. A tour guide of what?
I don't know. It
No,
says become
that's
a
just
tour
stupid.
guide.
Really?
There's a whole bunch of ideas on the internet, basically, of things
Okay.
like
I
you
take
just
that back.
Google.
Maybe that wouldn't be stupid. Maybe I would like to be a tour guide in Toronto. That actually might be okay. I'm gonna take that back. That might be actually a lot of fun.
I could
Getting
drive
on the
one of
bus and
those
telling
big red
people.
city buses and you could hold
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mic.
yeah. That's what I mean, right? And I could tell them, like, little tidbits, like, about Hooker
We
Harvey's,
could call
you
it
know?
the rolling dinner agenda,
Oh my god!
right?
Yes, and you know what? We'll go to, like, fun places, like I mentioned, Hooker Harvey's. We all know, Torontonians know what Hooker Harvey's is, but do travelers know? No, but I will tell them, and I will show them what it is.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That would be
Okay.
funny.
It would.
Yeah, so that was what with that there was the list goes on and on forever. I feel like you
Okay.
could just Google "I'm bored" and it would just come up, here's a list of shit to do.
I'm bored. Look
Yeah.
at CeeLo. Here's what's gonna happen. So your kids are gonna eat you out of house and home.
Yes,
And you're not gonna have enough money to do any of these bucket list ideas,
correct.
and we're not gonna have enough money to do any of these, bucket list ideas because we just bought a Fisher Paykel fridge that cost $80 million. No, I'm just joking. We did not get that fridge because it is way too
It's
expensive,
so
but thank you for the
expensive.
recommendation. Yeah, but I think, we'll end up doing nothing other than, "You wanna come over for lunch?"
Yeah.
Okay, come
We could
over
do
for lunch.
brunch. We could meet up
We
for
could do brunch.
brunch.
We could play
Do a
cards. We could do
little
poker tournaments.
yeah, conservation area walks with the doggo.
Yep. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
we could
that.
do that.
Okay. Well,
All
now
right.
that
Well,
we
now
have
that
a
I'm
plan
depressed, yeah, thank you.
yeah, we have a plan, and I'm gonna go meet with my financial advisor.
Yeah, you do that. You do that. All right. Well, I do definitely want to hear from our dinner guests. I'd like to get some ideas on what they think in terms of what they want to do,
Yeah.
but also with how much money they think they're going to need to have.
Yes, I'm kind of curious about that as
Yeah.
well. So dinner
Yeah.
guests, this is your
Call out.
time. This is your call out. And while you're at it,
Mm.
we're hoping to do an upcoming episode about vacations from hell,
Yes.
right? And so
Yeah.
I thought it would be fun if anyone has any vacations from hell stories. You can leave us a voice memo on Instagram, and our Instagram handle is the dinner agenda. Or you can just send us a note or a comment about what your vacation from hell was, because we'd love to hear about it, and we'll talk about it when we do that episode.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think that would be hysterical. I've got some stories too, so let's definitely share.
Girl, you always have stories.
You know what? I do, CeeLo. I've had a very interesting life so far, and I don't regret it. I don't regret any of it. But maybe the cage diving with sharks, I regret.
Oh, it's a
outside of that-
teaser. I like it.
it might be. It might be. All right. Until next time, this is Bo.
And this is CeeLo. Thanks for taking a seat at the table today. We love our dinner guests.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow The Dinner Agenda on the podcast platform you use so that you don't miss any new episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Dinner Agenda.
We look forward to hearing your comments, questions, and even ideas you may have on future episodes.
Thanks for taking this journey with us.